Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 33rd video of my video journal series. Today's date is Friday the 13th of March 2026. Something I wanted to share with you today is my experiences of fast food. Not me working in the fast food industry, but me, I guess, as a consumer of fast food. My experiences of fast food growing up. I used to remember as a kid, we rarely got fast food as a family. It was once a week, once in every fortnight sort of thing. As I grew older, we eventually got a lot more of it. But when I was a kid, my mum was very health conscious. She says, "No, you can't have too much fast food. It's too bad for your health." And in some aspects, she was right. I mean, fast food isn't the most healthiest thing out there, but as a kid, you don't really care about health. You just want to eat as much chicken nuggets, chips, fried chicken, wicked wings as possible. But I used to remember we used to go to McDonald's, KFC, Red Rooster, Ogalo, or Porto. We had a quite a wide diversity of fast food establishments that we frequented. And I used to remember as a kid, it was always an experience going to a fast food restaurant because you rarely had it, and you love that sort of stuff, especially the Happy Meals, the kids' meals. I used to remember my family and I when we went to KFC, we used to get this meal called the Streetwise Feast, which had, I forgot the specifics, but it had original pieces of chicken, tenders, chips, dipping sauces, potato and gravy. I'm pretty sure it was a large potato and gravy. And I don't know if it came with a drink or not. We always used to get that because it was the best value meal. Um, and I remember, shops like Big W, when you printed out your receipt, they used to give you like coupons at the back of the receipts. I noticed they don't do that anymore, but I used to remember the Streetwise Feast used to be a coupon at the back of one of those receipts. So whenever we went to KFC, we always said, "Hey, can we get the Streetwise Feast? We got a receipt here. We got a coupon that says you do it for like, I think it was $30 back in the day. This would have been around a decade ago. But fun fact, I remember working, you know, in the fast food industry, and it wasn't until the age of 16 before I had my first Big Mac, by the way, which is something I thought I'd mention here, just how, I guess, health conscious my mum was, because we never really got the burger meals. We always got the shared family meals, and it was always, equally distributed amongst everyone, so you only really get like two chicken pieces, a fry, some chips. Yeah, 16 years old when I had my first Big Mac, you know? Wow, jeez, it's really weird to think about that, but back on track. So, yeah, we used to get the Streetwise Feast, and, as a kid, I never really liked KFC original chicken. I always thought it was too drab, too dry. I always liked the Wicked Wings, chips, nuggets, potato, and gravy. I never really liked the original pieces of chicken. Even now, whenever I go to KFC, on the rare chance that I do, I usually just get the Go Buckets or I get the double tender burger. I don't really get the original pieces of chicken. Maybe the thigh or drumstick, but the rest are just, in my opinion at least. I used to remember going to McDonald's a lot with my parents as well. They always used to get me the Happy Meal or like a small cheeseburger meal, and my mum always specified small, never medium, never large, small. That was why I was 16 years old when I had my first Big Mac. She was always like, "No, no, we need to get a small meal. It's too much, too bad." I swear my mum doesn't sound like that, but I do that to imitate her, mock her. But yeah, I used to remember going to McDonald's quite a lot as a kid. At least, whenever we went to a fast food establishment, McDonald's was I guess, a frequent place that we went to. Um, and I guess, I used to remember the old McDonald's play places, as a kid. Um, Hosting kids' birthday parties at McDonald's, Hungry Jack's. Moving on to Hungry Jack's, I remember going there a lot with my father. And I used to remember the Hungry Jack's here in Australia, for those who don't know, Burger King in Australia is called Hungry Jack's, but I used to remember they had the soda machines within the public vicinity. I remember a few years ago they moved the soda machines out of the public view to behind the counters. So if you wanted to get a drink refill, you had to ask the employee. But I used to remember as a kid they used to keep the soda machines out in public, and they used to offer unlimited drink refills, which was so good. I think the only fast food restaurant I've been to that has offered unlimited drink refills has been Hungry Jack's and Burger King. Um, when I went to New Zealand, and I remember the Burger Kings there, they had unlimited drink refills, and it brought me back like all those childhood memories of, getting 5 drink refills with my brother and saying, Dad, I don't want to go. One more, raspberry Fanta. Like, come on. I used to remember it was very bad for my health, but like as a kid, unlimited, drink refills, unlimited soft drinks, like the best dream a kid could have. When I went to Burger King Japan, I don't think they did unlimited drink refills, which is kind of like sad. But New Zealand for the W, they still did it at all the restaurants I've been to, or the Burger King restaurants I went to in New Zealand, they still did it. But yeah, I used to remember Hungry Jacks. We used to get the Whopper Juniors. I remember. I used to remember Whopper Junior was like massive when I was a kid, but now it's just like very small, and I usually just get the regular Whopper now as an adult. But I remember going to Galo with my grandmother as well. We used to get, the Galo chicken salt. I remember distinctly. The best, like the fast food restaurant that has the best chicken salt, I swear, is either KFC or Gala. I remember Gala's chicken salt being top tier. We always used to get the chicken from there. I haven't had a Galo in like at least a decade. It's been so long since I've had a Galo, but I used to remember it was so delicious as a kid. Um, Even at Porter's, I used to remember going to Porter's with my dad. Never with my mum. She was always health conscious, but with my dad, I used to go to Porter's a bit. And I remember Porter's, as a kid, it would fill you up. But nowadays, it's like, it's all right. I mean, the quality is good, but I noticed I think the meals have gotten a little bit smaller over the years. Man, I'm nearly out of fast food. I guess I'm nearly out of fast food restaurants to talk about here in Australia, but moving overseas, I remember, going to Japan in November 2024 and going to KFC, Moss Burger, McDonald's, and Burger King. And I can say the KFCs in Japan were on par. I know this sounds extremely controversial, but the KFC in Japan were pretty alright. Like KFC, I was able to compare KFC in Japan to KFC in Australia, and I can tell they're, you know, around the same quality. This is going to sound extremely controversial. I know the Japanese KFCs are way more clean than the Australian KFCs, right? Point one to Japan. But at the same time, you know, I've had KFC in New Zealand, which was, I had it at the airport, Auckland Airport, and it was horrid. Like KFC in New Zealand, I'm sorry, is not good. I remember, getting KFC at the airport, just a zinger box, and the potato and gravy. I think it was just the potato and gravy just tasted like wall paste, just like toothpaste. It just tasted so mushy. And it was when I got back to Australia did I realize how good do we have KFC? At least KFC potato and gravy here in Australia. In New Zealand, I'm sorry, it just tasted, at least the one I went to, the one in the Auckland airport, it just tasted, just did not like it. But yeah, KFC. Maybe I just judged KFC too harsh in New Zealand. Maybe it's okay, but my experience there was, ugh. But KFC in Japan, look, they're very clean, they're very orderly. But when I tasted the quality, yeah, I couldn't really taste the difference, really. But only went to KFC once in Japan, so maybe I needed to go there more times to, yes, experience it. But um, yeah, I mean, in Japan they're very clean with all their fast food restaurants. With their presentation as well. I noticed that whenever I got like dining in, that they'll place. This is a very weird thing. I've taken photos of this, but whenever I got in, like eat in, um, all the fast food restaurants in Japan, at least with Burger King, McDonald's, and KFC, they always put the drinks, the fries, and the burger in like a specific order. They put the drinks on like the left, they put the burger in the center, and they put the fries on the right, or something like that. Because I remember taking photos. I know I'm one of those people. I remember taking photos of those meals as soon as I got them. Then I realized that, wait a minute, even though these are different fast food restaurants, they seem to have like the same order of where things are placed on the tray, which is, I don't know, is that a conspiracy theory? Is there like I guess a reason why they put the burger in the center, the fries on the right, and a drink on the left. And I used to remember they used to put like serviettes at the bottom of the drinks, the burgers, and all that. It was just like, I guess the presentation of fast food in Japan is absolutely superb. Um, Beats KFC here, where they don't even give you the trays anymore. They just give you the bag. McDonald's here in Australia, they used to do the trays, but not all the stores do them anymore, unfortunately. But in Japan, yeah, they're very clean with their fast food. I remember going to Burger King once in Tokyo, and I remember, I got my order. It was like a Whopper with cheese. I had it upstairs, and it was lovely. Apparently, their Whoppers in Japan, they're not real beef. They use a blend between beef and pork, apparently, because I remember tasting the burgers and like, hey, this tastes, a little bit different. Tastes a lot sweeter than the ones I'm used to in Australia, and that's because apparently in the Japanese market, um, their Whoppers don't contain 100% beef. It's like a blend between beef and pork. Last time I read about it, which is interesting. But I remember exiting the store and there was like 5 staff members at the front counter, and just as I was about to leave the Burger King franchise, Burger King store, sorry, all of them, they all bowed and they all said thank you in Japanese, which is arigato gozaimasu. Very formal way of saying thank you. And they all bowed in unison. And obviously, they knew I was a tourist. They wanted to, I guess, impress me or leave a good impression. But that little thing, that little, I guess, act of kindness by the staff was like one of the best fast food experiences I ever had. Maybe like number one. Just I guess the Japanese, like one reason I love going to fast food restaurants in Japan. I know there's so many other good places you can go to, and I do go to those places to eat in Japan. But I love just popping in by a fast food restaurant every once in a while because it really shows what they did different overseas. Even in New Zealand, the stuff was always nice at all the fast food restaurants I went to. I like to see their regional exclusive menu items. I remember, in Japan they sold hot dogs at Burger King. I remember, and I'm pretty sure they sold Heineken as well, like 0% alcohol Heineken, but it was still Heineken. I'm like, that's the imagine like VB Hungry Jacks here in Australia. How chaotic would that be? But no, I guess to end this video off, I really like having fast food every once in a while. I like going to fast food restaurants in foreign countries and comparing them. The ones in Japan, especially, McDonald's and Burger Kings and KFCs and Moss Burgers. They're very formal and they're very clean. It's like the best version of fast food you can get. And yeah, I guess when I do some more traveling on this channel, I guess I'll make some fast food reviews. I've been trying to cut down on fast food, but I do like the cheeky fast food, and fast food has been a key part of my life, and I guess the experience of going up with the family, and yeah, I guess let me know what you guys think about your fast food experiences growing up. If you went to McDonald's or your town or country's regional, I guess, exclusive fast food restaurants that we don't really get here in Australia. But yeah, I'm interested to hear. Anyway, take care and have a great day. See you tomorrow.